Welcome, everybody, to Status Quo, your home for gaming trends past and present. And as you know, I am Mars Vindicator. And as always, I also have
Queasy Crayfish
here along with me. So today we're going to have a couple of different topics to talk about. We're going to do a lot of critical thinking today. I think that's what I like to do in July. I just turned 29. You know, I'm a grown man now. I'm not in my 20s, you know, so I need to actually think about life and think about games, you know, and wonder why things are the way they are. So we have a couple of topics here. So first is going to be retro games. Are they actually good? So not that title exactly. What we just want to do is we just want to, you know, kind of go over some of those games, talk about, you know, do we remember these games more fondly than they actually are? The next one is going to be the best way to celebrate anniversaries. You know, again, just as I'm aging, so are a lot of our favorite video game franchises, and every now and then we catch a lot of anniversaries, and so we just want to really talk about, you know, what makes a good anniversary collection for a game. The next topic we want to talk about is something that Queasy and I both agree on, and that's that this gaming generation is not yet finished. We think that there's more to come from the PS4 and the Xbox One, but what exactly is that? We always agree on that, but what's next? And then finally, we want to have a new segment. We're going to have a new segment. It's going to be called the Roundup. And in the Roundup, we're just going to talk about games that we've been playing recently. I think Queasy Crayfish has dabbed a little bit in the Octopath Traveler, and I played a bit of Sonic Mania Plus. I think that's what it's called. Something like that.
Yes, that it is Plus.
Okay, so yeah. And we're gonna talk about those. So enough with this introduction. And let's get started with everybody's favorite, and that is Flake News. All right, so Queasy, are you ready? Are you ready for Flake News?
No, I need about 10 more minutes.
You do?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, there it is. All right. So today we have 6 because I found something that I really want to speak on. But so the first one is, which ties into one of our topics today, but Fantasy Star, for their like 30th anniversary or something, has made a mobile game.
What?
Yeah.
Fantasy, like a brand new one?
Well, it's like a cash grab mobile game.
Okay, so is it like heavily derivative of the old ones?
It's heavily derivative of cash grab mobile games.
Okay. And it's a Sega product. I mean,
yeah.
You know, good for them, I guess. It's weird
right.
how like this franchise, out of all of their franchises, they've like kept working on for some reason. I guess because it can just be pretty much anything. You just put a Shining in front of it and it's fine.
Wait, no, Fantasy Star.
Oh, I'm sorry. Fantasy Star.
Yeah.
Well, it's you know, same thing.
Because yeah, that's true. They have made some, right? Well,
Yeah,
I only brought it up. Oh no, what was that?
Well, yeah, because I mean, you know, you had PSO was big success, but it was nothing like, you know, the old ones. And then, you know, I guess yeah, you know, perfect time, I guess, for that. Then is it similar to PSO, or is it just like the?
Well, no, it 100% sucks. And I say this, shout out to Sega Bits, because the guy over there that writes took a lot of flack for this, but it's a cash grab piece of trash anime mobile game. And it's funny because he actually wrote an article where he said like, and I didn't even notice this at first, but he typed like, he said like, do like a Google search for something like generic anime mobile game, and this is what you'll find. And there's like a picture of some game, right? And then he had a screenshot of the Fantasy Star one under it. And when I first looked at the page, I thought it was the same game. And so, yeah, like it is really actually an abomination. And it's kind of what spurred me to want to talk about the topic.
Is this the one with like, it's like, because I think I saw it on Instagram actually. Like, yeah, like I'm tripping. Like I was acting like I didn't even know what this was about. But yeah, no, is that the one that has like the elf chicks and like the like I feel like
yeah.
And you just scroll over and it was just like different like large breasted anime women, like yeah,
of course,
yeah, that okay, yeah, okay, Flake News,
yeah, exactly, Idola. So it's about idols. Yeah.
Okay. So after confusing Phantasy Star with Shining Force and various other things, I've come to the realization that this is flake news.
Yeah, because and it's funny because he posted up all these pictures of like the PSO images, and I mean it's a totally different like vibe to it. So yeah, this is Sega's fault. They have trashed their own franchise once again. So
that's nothing new,
right? So all right, I don't want to spend too much on a flake because I'll lose my mind. Next is so 2K, famous for making NBA 2K, is making NBA 2K Playgrounds 2. So they bought the Playgrounds franchise and they're gonna make a arcade style basketball game.
Arcade style. Is this okay? Is it going to be like absorbed into the 2K main series, or is it just going to be like a separate thing? Or
it appears to be a totally separate game.
Okay, well that's kind of cool because I missed like NBA Jam and NBA Street and those kind of games. So
exactly, yeah. As long as it's not a Fortnite clone like that article said, So next is which is surprising in itself that. Well, the real flake news topic here is that Metal Gear Solid 5 got an update, regardless of what it is. But the update is Quiet was added to the FOB missions.
Okay.
So, but I was more surprised is that they added an update.
So what, you can play as her?
I actually didn't look into it, but yes, I think so.
Okay. Well, no one's playing that game anymore, so that's definitely flake news.
Right.
Yeah, like really, I mean, yeah, like who even really did those like when it was hot? I mean, I guess I did a little bit, but
right. So yeah, I love Metal Gear, but who cares? Oh, this next one is great. So Amazon is taking pre-orders for the Nintendo Switch online service. Like I can't even say that with a straight face. Yeah, like they're taking so imagine it's like 2007 and you can like pre-order Xbox Live for 360. Like pre-order your Xbox Live subscription.
Pre-orders are just insane because it's like the whole thing with pre-orders is just like there's some people who will do this, and so why not offer it? Like we were saying, like pre-ordering Logan on PS4, when it was still in the theaters, like. Yeah, just because some dummies will do it, and they'll only be able to watch Logan on PS4, after it comes out. It's just, like, so why not offer it if someone's going to pay it? I mean, not that there's anything wrong with the Switch online service, but it's like we haven't seen anything, and Nintendo is kind of shaky with that stuff, I feel like, just in general. So it's, they're like the only ones that don't have like a really robust online platform, so...
That's what I'm saying, and it comes out in 3 months. I could even have understood it if this was like a year or two, and like if these pre-orders started when the Switch launched, so then it kind of seemed like they could take that money and then go forth and use it to do something. Yeah, it would still be stupid to me, but that would make more logical sense.
Yeah, or if like the Wii and the Wii U had some crazy Xbox Live level online or something like that, and you just trusted them, but I feel like that's putting a lot of faith in Nintendo to deliver something. And I mean, does the Switch really? I mean, I guess there's games you want to play online, like Splatoon, it's gonna have Smash and stuff, Bros. And Smash,
and even Pokemon.
True.
Especially when they make the like the full on one. So yeah, I mean, there are going to be games that I'm going to want to play. Well, and that's the thing. Like, I don't even expect it to be good, and I'm going to get it though. But like, do I need to? I mean, like literally, it says play on release day. Like.
As if you couldn't just on release day go, purchase my subscription. Like,
right.
I like to have my stuff out of the way,
This is just tomfoolery. Okay. The next one is that, so back to No Man's Sky, but No Man's Sky, if you purchased it from Good Old Games, you not only did you get like most of the updates from yesterday late, the multiplayer update is apparently just indefinitely like not coming to the game.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
So if you, I guess that has something to do with DRM. I didn't know for sure, but GOG is actually offering refunds to anybody who purchased the game, no matter when they bought it.
So this is the second round of refunds for No Man's Sky.
Exactly. So
yeah,
something had to go wrong.
Yeah, I mean the game's had a rocky road for sure, and I feel like it. Instead of talking about No Man's Sky, it kind of speaks to like the danger of digital too. I mean,
exactly.
Like, because I mean, if you bought it on Steam, you're good to go. If you bought it on PlayStation, you're good to go. If you bought it on there's a new Xbox version, you're good to go. But if you bought it on GOG.com because that's your preferred platform for whatever reason, you're not good to go. And how are you to know that before you bought it? You know,
exactly. And it just sucks too because, maybe some people bought it there because of the whole DRM thing, but what if you only had so much money that day and then, that's just where you bought it from? Cause I bought games from there for that reason. I'm pretty indiscriminate. If I can buy it, I'll buy it. I didn't even actually know that was the thing with them was a whole you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's
I just thought it was another platform. Yeah. So yeah, like imagine if you had just bought that from there just because. No updates for you, sucker. Like no actual game for you, sucker, because now it's actually out. Okay. So that was my final topic until I went to GameStop.com and looked at their posting for Team Sonic Racing and learned that it was $40.
Team Sonic Racing, $40.
Yeah, and I'll just say
you were quite angry about that.
Yeah, I was. How do you feel about that, Queasy Crayfish? Team Sonic Racing, $40.
I mean, I wouldn't buy it for $10, so it's way too high.
I'll just leave it by saying, here we go with another discount game. Like from a discount game that should be a AAA game.
Mm-hmm. Because I'd pay $60 for Mario Kart.
Exactly.
Because it's that good.
Easily, and Mania, like I get the whole situation behind it and the retro, and I get that. But like, come on, what was that other one that came out
Forces?
After Mania, the trash one?
Yeah, Forces. Yeah, that was only $40, I think.
So this might as well be called Team Sonic Forces Racing. Garbage. All right.
Team Sonic Poverty Racing.
Team Garbage. So. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll move on from that. Mars Vindicator won't get too upset today. We'll try to keep everything cool. So the first topic here that I want to discuss is retro games. Now this stems from a couple of different areas for me. First of all, there was a point in time where I had a bit of a debate with so it was basically me and Zilla versus King 50 Cal and Specs of the Fly, right? And the whole debate was PS2 versus Nintendo 64, right? Now we all know which one the winner of that is, okay? And a lot of my argument for saying that the PS2 is a winner wasn't just because it's objectively better, because it is. Not to take anything from the 64, but I mean, come on. Not only is the PS2 objectively better, the games, I mean, just because they're newer, they hold up well. And on top of that too, like there's just a larger number of games that are just made well, right? And what I was saying was that on the 64, no doubt do you have Ocarina of Time, no doubt do you have Mario Kart, Perfect Dark, GoldenEye, which actually those two are actually suspect because of the whole single analog stick control. So that's actually a really good point. We tend to remember we remember those games. Like we have like the recent memories of playing Call of Duty or Halo. And then we remember that Perfect Dark was a first person shooter from the past, right? So we remember it as being dope, right? But we totally forget that you have to control it with one stick. You know what I'm saying? And so in your mind, it was this very great experience because it was, but is it still that same thing today? You know what I'm saying? So that was my whole argument with that. And I feel like a lot of people are going back and making a lot of this retro stuff, but how fun is, go to the store and grab Turtles in Time and play it by yourself. It's a mindless arcade port, Sorry if that pisses anyone off. And then next, which is a franchise that I love to death, but recently I played through Metal Gear Solid, and overall the game was pretty good. And of course there were some things that, that felt dated, but the final boss fights were just absurd. Mostly the fist fight with Liquid, spoiler alert, because you kill him inside, well, you kill him in a airplane, and then he comes back and you fight him in Metal Gear and you kill him there, and then he comes back and you beat him to death on top of it. Then he comes back in a car and chases you, and then of course he comes back as an arm later on in the series. But when he's in that car chase scene, like the aiming is just atrocious. And you can do first person, but in that game, like shoot is circle and first person is triangle. So it's kind of like impossible to even do. And it just was a totally bad time. And not only did I lose my mind playing it, but another, good friend of mine and a good Metal Gear Solid fan, Ryu Versace, aka what's his new name? Trust Me or some bullcrap. I don't know. You Can Trust Me. He also played it recently and was like, this was just bad. So overall, it's a decent game, but a lot of this retro stuff, I think, is just very fond memories in our minds, but everything doesn't hold up like we remember
it. For sure. Well, how far, what do you classify as retro? Like, how far back are we going?
I'll say hell, because it doesn't have to be retro. I'll take any. Here we're just talking about from PS2 back, PS2 era and back.
Okay. Yeah, the one thing I will say about Perfect Dark is because I think that's one of the best games ever made, in my opinion. And I will say, while I do agree that like when you go back and play that, it's gonna suck because of the controls. I think part of that I can excuse because we're accustomed to the newer controls. We had grown accustomed to them, and I think they are just objectively better. But I think during the time, I mean, when I was playing Perfect Dark and I was accustomed to those controls, the single stick and using the buttons to strafe and stuff, I think that was like, I was pretty surgical with it. Like it wasn't a problem, and I was able to free aim and stuff like that. So I think some of that can be excused. And I think that's something you have to keep in mind is that like there are some conventions that just have changed over the years that make experiencing a game, an old game nowadays seem different. So that's mainly my defense of those games. But I think like, yeah, I mean like Sonic Adventure 2 was like a big one, or even 1 for me. Like when I had such fond memories of those games. And then I go back and play them and I'm like, why am I falling off bottomless pits constantly? And, why are these controls so terrible? Why is the camera so terrible? Why is it a glitchy mess? Like there's a lot of just like, objective problems with those kind of games. And, but I think ultimately though, like good games, really good video games, good design and everything does hold up over the years. Like when I went back and played Onimusha, like sure there was some stuff that was really antiquated, like the fixed camera angles and stuff like that, and the tank controls and whatnot, but like it's just an absorbing game. You sit down and play that and you're just playing a really good game. Doesn't matter what time you're playing it in. And same for stuff like Flashback, like the Anniversary, which we'll be talking about Anniversaries later, but the anniversary of that game's coming out soon. I expect it to be every bit as good as it was when I played it, on the Sega Genesis years back. And yeah, I mean, I think good design and good cohesive programming and everything holds up over the years, regardless of graphics and all of that stuff that's very temporal and is constantly changing.
Right. And and I don't want anybody to confuse what I was saying, because I remember playing Perfect Dark back then, and I think Perfect Dark was objectively good. I think it is still objectively good. I guess kind of the point I was making with especially a game like Perfect Dark where it has a great remaster. So like you, even as somebody who has a lot of nostalgic memory of that, would you seek out a 64, deal with playing it with the AV cables and all of that, et cetera, and the single stick over playing it on the 360?
Well, just so happens I plan to do that very, very soon and possibly make a little video series of it, but we'll see.
Okay. See, I feel and at the same time, before I played Metal Gear Solid 1, I was going to play the Twin Snakes, but I could not do the voices, specifically Mei Ling and Nastasha. So I played the original. So I do get it. I do get that, there's some nostalgic things. And I don't want anybody to think I'm saying that those two games especially are like really good. I'm not saying that they suck. But there's just a lot of like, I went back and tried to play a lot of like old Genesis games, and it was just like, why am I doing this?
Yeah, now that's one definitely I'll agree with. I mean, you go back because we got the Genesis collection and everything, and there's a lot of those on there where you're just like, why would I waste my time playing Dynamite Heady? Like it's just not good. It's not that good. Even like Ristar and like Comic Zone and stuff like that, like they're cool, but Comic Zone, we can have a discussion about that, or Golden Axe, like legendary game, but like, do I really want to sit down and play Golden Axe? No.
Exactly. Yeah. Golden Axe, is, I can do it because but it's more like that. I can do Golden Axe, but it's more for that like chummy, like, oh shit, it's old and funny, right? But cause like on my birthday, like I with me and one of my friends, we ran through Streets of Rage 2, and I was like legitimately playing that and strategizing, but Golden Axe, I'm just busting heads for fun until I die. So yeah, no, like definitely. Okay. So we don't want to piss off too many people. I wouldn't dare say that any game on Super Nintendo was bad because, oh God, why? What? Oh Lord. So, we'll
Chrono Trigger sucks.
Chrono Trigger. Next topic. Next time. No. So we discussed this a little bit, just slightly, but we want to talk about anniversaries. Okay. Anniversary games. Now, I brought this up because part of the reason why I even got on this was because that Phantasy Star game that's supposed to be for the anniversary, and that's an abomination. That's like the worst thing you could get on your anniversary. That's like your parents having their 50th anniversary, and I don't know, like you kill your sibling on the day, like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a terrible gift, like just the worst. And at the same time, though, we've gotten pretty decent collections. Now, as much as I talk junk about Street Fighter, they have actually done a good job with putting out collections, I think. I think they're a great example of some people to go look at. So which is crazy to me to even say this, but this was for the 15th anniversary, I believe. And that was when they did they did like those 6-button PS2 controllers. And they did the anniversary collection, which had a version of Street Fighter 2 where you could play against, like you could choose a character from like one version of 2 and play against a character from like a different version of 2. I'm pretty sure it was that one. That was really cool. And then of course it had Third Strike on it, which hadn't come out in the US on the PS2 yet. So that, this was a very welcome gift, especially to a platform that did not get a true Street Fighter game. And then here recently, which, 15 years later, which is absurd to me, but for the 30th, they just basically released every game in the series. Because even if you bought it on PS4 and Xbox One, you even got Street Fighter 4 with it. So that basically just was like, here's every game. Now, it was only the arcade ports, so you didn't get a lot of practice modes and all that, or the extras that are in Alpha 3. But, for the price and for the sheer content, especially if you're a fan, like, that's great, right? But then meanwhile, you get stuff like that Phantasy Star. SNK is doing like some anniversary collection, and they're putting out a lot of their games. Now, I get that they have a lot of games. I do. But I don't think it has any King of Fighters games on the collection. And so, yeah, like, so I get that they at one point they had their whole own platform, so they have a lot of other games, but I'm just not interested in buying that if it doesn't have King of Fighters on it. So, I think that there's good ways to do anniversaries and bad ways to do it. And I have a couple other examples, but Queasy Crayfish, do you have any examples of anniversaries? Good, bad?
Well, I'm going to take it back to Sonic again, because Sonic Adventure 2, the main thing I remember about that game was the advertising 10 years. And then they did 20 years with Sonic Generations. And, those are, I guess, questionable ways to to do an anniversary.
The Adventure 2 one was good. Generations.
It was good. It was a big announcement. Generations was kind of.
I'll take that. That was questionable.
Yeah. But honestly, because I was like sitting here trying to think of like anniversary collections or like, game anniversaries. And I realized that like I just don't even have a good sense for like when games came out or, like right. when their anniversaries even are. And then there's so many different franchises and series to follow. So, I'm more than willing to listen to some of your suggestions on this topic.
Well, and I'll admit, a lot of these, they kind of catch me off guard. But I think Street Fighter is a great one to talk about because, first of all, it's been around for forever. So, we're at the 30th mark. We have a lot of different games, right? And like I said, they typically tend to do them pretty good. But what we get, of course, with Street Fighter is throughout all these games, we have a lot of characters, right? So I think the reason why it's cool that they release all these games is that, characters like, I don't know, Sodom, who, is really from Final Fight, but only in the Alpha series, or somebody we don't see a lot that's even kind of regular, like maybe Fei Long or like, Julie and Junie or Jury, I can remember from Alpha. So, we get to see all these characters come back, And so I think that that's a really cool thing to do for anniversaries is to like kind of celebrate the series and bring back, a lot of the characters from the series past, and into something. And so that's why I think this Phantasy Star situation is just such an abomination because I think they were saying it has like waifu versions of like characters from the series, but it does, it's something like, but yeah, like it doesn't appear to really, it doesn't put you in the mind of Phantasy Star 4 or 3 or even Phantasy Star Online, It just looks like some generic anime thing, And, but before a game that's been around that long where you have, where you have 2D games that are now just like a megabyte or 5 megabytes in size, in my mind, there's no reason that that you shouldn't have a collection, every decade or so of all these games together.
Yes, I just thought of 2 others. One that was really good and that I love is I have a Command and Conquer collection. I'm pretty sure it was Anniversary. I'm not 100% positive on that, but it is a collection of, I think, everything Generals and before. So you get Command and Conquer, you get Red Alert, Red Alert 2, Tiberian Sun, Renegade, and Generals, I believe was the full list. And that was an awesome collection because those were, like full price games and games that I bought most all of them individually, but then it was like insane to just have them on 2 discs, in this nice little box. And like, so I remember playing that in college, I was like, look at this old game. And so I love that. And they were like perfect, they were like, because it's all PC stuff. So to port it is no problem at all. So they were just like exactly like playing the old ones. Which is a problem sometimes you run into nowadays. And then the other way of dealing with it, I think a lot of times too, is the remake thing. And that was done with Tomb Raider because there was a Tomb Raider anniversary game where they remade Tomb Raider 1 and reimagined it with like, all kinds of cutscenes and QTE and stuff. And I feel like it's not very well remembered or received. But yeah, I guess that's another way to do it.
Right. No, yeah, I see. I didn't even actually know about that. And well, you see, and I just thought about another example. One that I definitely liked was Metal Gear Solid Legacy Collection.
Oh yeah.
And the reason why I say that is because even just a couple years prior to that, they had released the HD collection. So in the States, of course, it had 2, 3 and Portable Ops, or 2, 3 and Peace Walker. Whereas in Japan, Peace Walker was a separate release and the HD only had 2 and 3. So it may have hit a little harder in Japan getting all those in one collection. But, you got all those and then, that basically already included Metal Gear 1 and 2 because they were on 3. And then, but then it also came with a digital code for 1 and VR, VR missions, and then you of course got another copy of Metal Gear Solid 4, which again is interesting because in Japan that game kind of held some value. So because I remember seeing it for like $30 when I was there in like 2012, whereas like here in the States it's been like $2 for like the last like like eight years,
Yeah.
So it didn't really matter too much, I don't think, here, but even still, and so if you're a huge fan of that series, no matter what just came out, you're going to want to go get that collection. And so I definitely applaud things like that. What they're doing with this Phantasy Star, this is trash. To me, it's just a huge disrespect to the series.
Yeah. And we saw the same thing with Command and Conquer too.
Right. Oh, yeah. Let's not even mention that, that got an E3 stage.
Mm-hmm.
Christ. All right, so we'll cut the anniversaries out until we get to the next anniversary. Hopefully we get something good here soon. Hopefully they put King of Fighters or do something for King of Fighters on this SNK anniversary, because it is the 40th. That's kind of huge. But regardless of that, though, let's talk about this generation. We want to hit some more anniversaries, but we want this generation to have a full life cycle. So we always say that this generation isn't finished, and I had to really sit back and think to myself, why exactly isn't this generation finished? And overall, I guess for me personally, first of all, there's still too many games that are missing. Okay. We still haven't had like Kingdom Hearts yet. Like Nintendo, I know the Switch is technically the next generation, but it's still like weird that, we still don't have a new Smash out yet. I guess Wii U technically was, but that's neither here nor there. We still haven't had like a good Halo game. We still need the next Halo to come out. Last of Us still needs to come out. And those are a couple of games. I do still think that there are like a couple of more. But then I guess another weird thing to me is just maybe just being used to, generations past. So take, for example, Final Fantasy, right? We had got 3 Final Fantasies per generation up until the PS3, I guess we did get 3 Final Fantasies that generation, but they were all from the same Final Fantasy game. They were just all 13.
Mm-hmm.
So this one, I guess 14 carried over, and then we got 15. So in my mind, I still feel like we need another Final Fantasy game. Same thing with like Tekken, for example. We got 1, 2, 3, and then we got Tag 4, 5, and then we got 6, Tag 2. So I kind of feel like, again, like there needs to be another Tekken game, and then I kind of feel like still that there are like a couple of franchises that I'm just like sure are going to get a reboot, but it just hasn't happened yet, and it's supposed to be this generation, like Virtua Fighter, especially after seeing Tecmo do Dead or Alive. I feel like maybe they'll pull out a Ninja Gaiden. Who knows? And then Bethesda really threw me for a loop, because I would have said to you like, no, we're getting an Elder Scrolls this generation, but they've already voted to put it on the next one, so, but at least Cyberpunk is coming. So, but I just feel like there's so many games that we still need to come out. In terms of features though, I think we're pretty set with like console features, but I feel like there's just a lot of games that need to come out.
Yeah, I mean, definitely with features. Like, I don't know what else they could do. That's why I was shocked last week when we were talking about apparently Xbox showing off new accessories and all this stuff. And I'm like, what else could we possibly be adding on at this point? But for me, it just felt like the beginning of this generation was so much kind of like carrying things over from the previous one, redoing games, re-releasing games, and it's so much of the first few years of this generation was just like old games, or like remasters or re-releases, and so it felt like it didn't really start until quite a bit later. And I have to kind of like remind myself that like we have had some big games. I mean, there's been of course, we've had multiple Call of Duty games, multiple Battlefield games, and all that stuff. But I mean, we've had like The Witcher 3, We had Fallout 4,
Nier
you know,
Automata,
yeah, Final Fantasy 15,
Neo,
Dark
yeah,
Souls 3, Bloodborne, you know, like, so we've had
yeah.
some, definitely had, you know, God of War, Gran Turismo, multiple Forzas. So there's been a lot of stuff, but I think, well, go ahead.
I was gonna say actually, Gran Turismo was I think one that fits my argument because to me, Sport is still just a demo. I'm waiting for the real one of that. Wow, but at the same time, we've had like 7 Forzas though.
Yeah, I know. And it's like a yearly thing, which I'm not really a fan of, but,
Right.
aside from that, I mean, like, I guess the thing that kind of bothers me with this generation is that it has this like reboot mentality for a lot of stuff. So even stuff that's like a continuation of a series or something, like in the case of like Soul Calibur 6, like, or Tekken 7, even, like, they have this kind of feeling of like a reboot almost.
Right.
Um, and, you know, Tekken less so, but I don't know. To me, that game, it feels like, you know, here we're starting, you know, we're starting fresh or whatever. I mean, like, with the whole like rage mechanics and all that stuff, and, you know, just seeing these characters for the first time in these graphics, even though they're not that fantastic. But same with Soul Calibur. I mean, Soul Calibur was just gone for a long time. It was kind of irrelevant, and now it comes back with like, here's old characters, blah 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 blah, and yeah, I mean, like, just the revival kind of feeling of a lot of stuff. I'm trying to think of some other series that feel that way. Even like Final Fantasy, like 15 comes out,
Yeah.
and it's like such an effort to like differentiate itself and to be this new thing instead of just being like the new
Metal Gear
Final
Solid
Fantasy.
was like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yep, precisely. So I think that kind of goes a long way in making this generation feel like it's like just getting started. You know, God of War. I mean, God of War is like totally different. You know, it's all, you know, I guess it has the same continuity. It references the old games, but it's like, it just feels like a completely new thing.
Right. Not like exactly. No, most definitely. And yeah, and that whole reboot mentality was across all systems because again, you know, it is hard to like classify the Switch because technically the Wii U is the system of this generation, the Nintendo one. But I mean, even like the Switch is just now getting over the whole reboot mentality, you know, and it's finally starting to truly get its own games. But a lot of the, you know, the Nintendo games for that system, save maybe like Kirby and Mario, were just like, you know, reboots, you know.
Yeah.
So
And Switch has like barely been out, you know, like if you're saying the online service isn't even up.
exactly right. Yeah, and there's no Smash yet, you know. And so and yeah, and you know, I mean, I just there's just so many. Again, I guess the Switch is technically next gen, but since it's out right now, I just feel like, you know, it belongs here. And so it's like I'm still waiting for the Pokemon game. You know, I'm still waiting for, like I said, for Smash. You know, I'm still waiting for the Fist of the North Star Yakuza. We haven't even got Dragon Quest from Japan. You know, we're still waiting for Anthem. You know, like we still have big Western games just, you know, locked and loaded, ready, you know, the next Black Ops. Like there's just, yeah. So, yeah, to me, I feel like it's far from over. I can't really, I just feel like I'll be highly satisfied with what's coming out for at least the next 2 years.
Yeah. And it's weird because like some of the really big games, like Grand Theft Auto and Elder Scrolls and stuff like that, are like just carried over from last gen. And like, we still haven't seen a Grand Theft Auto, you know?
Yeah, that is that's a wonderful example. Yeah, like there has not been a true Grand Theft Auto game.
Yeah,
you know,
it's not even like, it doesn't even belong to a generation. Yeah, it just kind of is like this weird middling game.
Just carry right over. Wow. So yeah, well, hey. Hopefully, you know, we don't, you know, there's no surprise Sega Saturn-esque, you know, Xbox 2 release this fall, you know, so we don't want anything to get out of control. All right. So finally here, ladies and gentlemen, we want to just do a new segment here. And it's not like a really hard segment, but it's just just a place for us to talk about things that we've been playing recently because, you know, this segment is about games. So as well as talking about information about games, we also kind of want to talk about playing games. Now, don't expect to come to us for, you know, this game is a 10, because we're not reviewers here, but we just want to, give you some blares about some games that we have been playing and talk about some specific games. So, as you know, the summer is usually not the biggest time for a lot of games, but we have had a couple of notable releases here. And so I guess I'll get started here by saying that I did just get a Sonic Mania Plus, and I could definitely, if you weren't like a huge Sonic fan and Sonic Mania was a game for you to like try out 2D Sonic and you kind of liked it, then I wouldn't say that you should get it, this update. But if you are a Sonic fan, I think it's like almost necessary, just for a couple of reasons. Now, the Encore mode is quite a bit reminiscent of like Knuckles Chaotix, or for Sonic Crackers, for the 7 of you who know what that is.
I do.
You see, because, you play as 2 characters, but instead of you having like an elastic band that shifts with like, both of your weights, one character just follows the other one, but you can switch the lead character at any time. And then, instead of collecting lives, you just like collect the characters, and then the stages, of course, look different. And they're not just like weird palette swaps, but they're actually like palette swaps with some like time put into them. Not that a palette swap is the biggest thing in the world, but they look kind of cool. And that makes it, kind of cool in itself. But then the fact that they added Mighty and Ray, and then Mighty and Ray both have like new abilities. So Ray, of course, flies like a flying squirrel. And so that adds like a new kind of gameplay mechanic to like this old series, where we really didn't get anything new from the original Mania. And the same thing with Mighty, because he has this ground pound move. And he's also, if he's balled up, he's invincible to spikes, for at least 1 hit. So, I was really impressed with the way that they added new features for these characters. And, I played through that game, 2 or 3 times before, and I'll be playing through it again because I think the features are just great. And I 100% do agree, especially with Queasy Crayfish's segments, that, his opinions that, we need new content, in a Mania game. We need more new stages, like stage wise. And that's definitely true. But, the characters, the Encore mode, I think is well worth the update. Not to mention it's physical. So that was another cool thing to see, just the fact that this game that did well digitally got brought out physically. So overall, I'm pretty pleased with it.
Okay. What else you playing?
What else am I playing? So I did beat Metal Gear Solid 1. I've been going back through Metal Gear Solid 2, and this game is much more like, I'm playing the HD version, but it's much more like, it aged a lot better. I can say.
Yeah, because I got Legacy Collection recently, and I started playing that game, and I was just playing the tanker, and I was like, wow, this is still fun.
Right? Yeah, like it's crazy. And my girlfriend's been watching me, so it's interesting to see her react to all the twists and turns in that, in that story.
Oh, wait till the ending.
Man, we just got to the good part. But naked riding on the Arsenal gear, like we're just there. So
it's amazing.
Exactly. So
fission mailed.
Right. Yeah. Turn off the game. So yeah, that's a great series. And then other than that, of course, too, I did pop in for a hot second yesterday. No Man's Sky Next, which I want to refer to it as from now on, because No Man's Sky is not a real game. So, but like, what I will say, what I noticed first, which I've been telling Queasy, is that I popped it in, and at first, because I've switched PlayStation since then, and then I was, I started a new game, and I was like, oh man, I gotta like relearn all this stuff, and then I was like, wait a minute, I have like a save file, I just got to download it from PlayStation Plus, the servers. So I got it, and I immediately booted up my save file, and I was like, okay, like cool, I'm like in space, and I'm collecting stuff, and I realized that even base No Man's Sky would have been a cool game had I stumbled upon it randomly and paid $15 for it,
Oh,
because,
yeah.
like, objectively, like in a vacuum, what I was doing felt fun, but it just felt terrible at first because I had expected so much and was told so much, so that game is a true testament to how, hype can either make or break a game. But the third person mode, I haven't tried the multiplayer yet, but everything looks cool. A lot of the menus seem more fleshed out. And I think the aliens move more, and I think there's more of them, and yeah, it feels it still feels like a very high quality indie game, but much more high quality than before.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Yeah, like if you just stumbled upon that game for cheap, yeah, you'd be like, look at this amazing game that I found. But instead,
it would totally change your opinion.
Yeah, this big marketing campaign, and then you pay 60 for it, and it's just like a husk, and you're like, what the heck is this?
Exactly.
For me, games that I've been playing, well, in addition to, let's just start with the retro stuff. Heart of Darkness, I'm still playing that. Still doing the Let's Play series. If you don't know what that is, PS1/PC game from the 90s, designed by Eric Chahi, the French designer behind Another World and such games. Delphine Studios, also creators of Flashback. Several games that I love. So still working on that game. Also, I just recently got Octopath Traveler on the Switch, just randomly, impulsively. Like when I first saw that game, I was like, what is this like weird, obscure Japanese RPG? Because the first time I saw it was at the Square Enix, presentation at E3, video presentation. And it was just weird seeing that game like up against Tomb Raider and like all these other games they were showing. So, but I thought the art style looked really cool, and it looks really cool on the Switch. Like the way, it looks like this really old 2D RPG, but like the way it moves and stuff has this kind of modern feel to it a little bit. And I haven't really gotten too deep into it yet because I was super tired when I started playing it, and I was like falling asleep. So I was like, let me just save this. But I played about a half hour, 45 minutes or so. I picked Therion to start with, my first character. So we'll see how that goes.
Wait, so you didn't know about that game until E3?
Yeah, I had not heard of it.
Wow. Because that like there was a demo out for like some months, and you could start with 2 of the characters and it would like carry over.
Oh, really? No, I had no idea. Yeah. Oh, I'm not someone that like follows Japanese RPGs. I'm not even usually a huge fan of them, although I like the idea of them. Like, I love the idea of like Chrono Trigger and stuff like that. But whenever I sit down to play those games, I'm always just like tend to get bored for some reason. So we'll see how it goes. What else have I been playing? Oh yeah, I've been playing Black Ops 3, trying to get back into Call of Duty.
That's what I need.
Well, yeah, because 4 is coming out, and the thing I'm excited about with 4 is that it's if I'm not mistaken, it's a more of a grounded shooter, so there's not going to be like jetpacks and stuff. Because that's the thing that really pisses me off about Black Ops 3 and Advanced Warfare, and that's why I could never really get into those games too much. Is like, it created this whole other plane of shooting, where like, because there's a whole new strategy with these games with the jetpacks and stuff like that. To be really good at Black Ops, you have to like, when you see someone, you have to like do a double jump, and you have to be able to aim while you're like flying through the air and stuff. And like, I just can't do that. Like, I'm almost 30 years old. I just can't do it, so so like I've seen people play it who are really good, and they're always doing that. They're always running on walls and jumping around, and like, I just can't do that. I prefer the grounded, boots on the ground shooter, patient gameplay, smart gameplay. So I'm hoping Black Ops 4 has a little more of that, and I'm trying to kind of get back into the series with 3. And I think, I've been playing a ton of Pokemon Go. In fact, I'm doing an EX raid tomorrow for Mewtwo. So,
well, dang, yeah, it's cool that you're still playing Pokemon Go. I just can't do it yet, but I think I might get there.
You think you might get there to playing it?
I think so. Maybe at some point.
Tell you, it's cool. I'm Team Instinct. There's a Team Mystic like gang around where I live, and they take over everything. So it's cool. Like a couple guys I know are also Team Instinct, so it's cool to like, yo, I'm going down to the park right now. Meet me there. We're gonna take out these gyms,
Oh, geez.
So stuff like that. It's fun.
I'm still Valor all the way, though. I'm still Valor.
Hey, it's better than Mystic.
Right. It's trash. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen. So that has been episode 13 of Status Quo. And so we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna go play a bit of No Man's Sky next. So that way in the next podcast we can tell you about how actually bad it is and how much the hype just didn't get us and how much it sucks. So that is that. And I'm gonna go play No Man's Sky next. I'm Mars Vindicator.
I'm Queasy Crayfish. Chrono Trigger sucks.
Worst game ever.
Super Nintendo sucks.
Right. Ocarina of Time is trash. Conspiracy. And yeah, we're out of here. I hope somebody cries.
Yeah, what?
All those games suck.